Today we're going to look at our introduction to writing geometric proofs. Some vocabulary that we'll use: a conjecture is an educated guess. Congruent. Congruent means we have two figures that have the same measurement. So two angles that have the same measurement are said to be congruent. So we're going to have a squiggle over two lines. So a squiggle over an equal sign is the symbol for congruent. A theorem is an established truth. The measure of angle 1 has a symbol as well that we will be using kind of to shorten it. So the little m for measure, and then the symbol for angle, and then the number of the angle. Supplementary angles are angles whose sum is 180, and complementary angles are angles whose sum is 90. So by the end of this lesson, you will be able to use deductive reasoning to prove theorems. So we will be structuring a proof today. We will be organizing our proofs in a 2-column table. And in our column, you can see the picture of it. The first column is going to be statements. These are the things that we know to be true. So something that is true. And then in the statements, we'll be writing down all the things we know to be true. And then beside those statements, we'll be writing a reason. And the reasons that we'll give is why we know this statement is true. When you go to set up a proof, the very first sentence or the first statement is going to be some information that you will be provided. And the reason you're going to know that first statement is true is because you are given that information. And then you're going to go write other statements and the reasons you know those statements are true. And we're going to use deductive reasoning to get to whatever it is we're trying to prove. So the last statement is always going to be whatever you're trying to prove. And then, of course, the reason's going to be why we know it's true. So we're going to look at how to write a 2-column proof. Before I go into writing that, I want to go over a few more symbols with you. And then in the next video, I will actually do the proof with you. So the vertical angle theorem says that vertical angles are congruent if, so if you're looking at that picture with the two intersecting lines, angle 1 and angle 2 are vertical angles. So those are angles formed across that little vertex of those two angles. Now I put little orange swoopies. That's not the real name for them. I have no idea what it is. I made up that name. So that swoopy says that angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent, as you can see right here. Angle 1 and angle 2 are congruent. Now angle 3 and angle 4 are also congruent. So if I were to go to my picture and mark angle 3 congruent to angle 4, I wouldn't use one swoopy, I would use two swoopies. So one swoopy is congruent to one swoopy, and two swoopies are congruent to two swoopies. So in the next video, we'll come back and I'll show you how to write a proof and prove to you that vertical angles are congruent.